Look at this word Allah. This word Allah doesn't have any plurals. It doesn't have any feminine. It's a descriptive word of this name of God, which is so unique that you know this creator is unlike anything. Not a man or a woman, father or a mother, son or a daughter. This creator is not someone that begins to exist. It's not someone that will come to an end of existence. This is Allah, and the Quran describes it. It says, this is Allah, there is no God besides Him. This is why we Muslims say, we come to the knowledge of our Creator Allah, and we say, everything else that people ascribe is false. These are false deities. You know, some people believe God came down as a man and a woman.
That's what they do.
I mean, how do you ascribe that God came down as a man and He was praying to God, oh God, help me? God is independent of everyone. He doesn't need anyone's help.
So why does the Quran say that, you know, they recognize and respect all other messengers, but right now you're saying that the rest of the messengers which are being described in other scriptures are not valid?
Okay, very interesting question. In fact, I thank you for asking a very interesting question people don't often ask. You asked me, taking my point, the Quran describes, gives the description of the true nature of the Creator, and all that, you know, other scriptures or religions describe, I say I find fault in it. In fact, allow me to answer it. In fact, it's exactly what the Quran says. The Quran says, because there is only one God, this is the same God that sent prophets and messengers in the past. They came with the same message about God. They didn't come to tell people that God is a woman, or a man, or a son, or a daughter, or a brother, or something. They came to tell you about the reality of God, that He is one and only, the absolute, the one who has no beginning, the one who has no end, the one who doesn't have any parents, and the one who doesn't have any children. And the Quran describes, Allah, our God describes in the Quran how the people of the past, whether they follow a scripture or not, they incorporated errors and changes and falsehood within those religions that God sent with the prophets. Let me finish. So for example, if you now see the book, the Torah of the Jews, in the Torah it describes like this. Let's see whether you agree with it. It says, God created mankind, and He saw mankind doing it. He once noticed mankind came to the land of East called Shinar, and they settled there, and they started building tall skyscrapers. This is in the book of Genesis of the Christian Bible too. So they're building tall skyscrapers. God of the Bible then says, as reported in the Genesis accounts, God says, what? Man is building tall skyscrapers and they fall down and they speak one language. And God says, now nothing will be impossible for them to do. So let us go down and confuse them. Look at the concern that this God has. Excuse me. My friend, allow me to tell you why I refer to this point. I'm going to make a point of illustration of how people have changed the description of God and gave totally unbefitting description in their scripture by modifying and changing it. This is one example of it. So let me continue this example. So God is concerned here, man is settled in one place, speaks the one same language, building tall skyscrapers. We know from the remnants of the ancient Near Eastern texts, at that time people believed that if you build tall enough buildings, you can reach up the sky and you can overthrow God. Look what the Bible the Hebrew and the Christian Bible describes the concern of God. God says, now nothing will be impossible for them to do or achieve. So let us go down and confuse them. The only reason why you and I speak English now, we could have spoken a different language. In fact, in English is not even a second language either, right? The only reason why you speak different languages, according to the Bible, is because God was so concerned that we continue to speak the same language and build up tall skyscrapers. Nothing will be impossible for us to do, including what? Overthrow him? So he comes down, confuses people, and disperses them. That description doesn't fit the nature of God, the character of God. That is...
Or just because of the
do you think God is concerned because human beings speak one language and are settled together and building tall skyscrapers? Nothing will be impossible for them to do?
To be quite honest, there's quite a lot of religious texts which I would say concern in the same manner.
Does this describe God perfectly?
I'm saying a lot of things or whatever.
My friend, this description that I've given, an event, a description that happened according to the Hebrew and Christian scriptures. My friend, I want your honest opinion. Do you think this describes God perfectly? About that event? That event.
All events, to me, personally, someone standing here, I'll say 100%.
Can you now deal with the question that I asked? That particular event.
That particular event, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with the Bible.
Why don't you agree with it?
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Why not? It doesn't make sense to me either.
No. It's like one point, but I'm not here to speak.
Fine.
But
So,
no, let me in terms of whether it's the Quran, whether it's the Bible, whether it's the Quran or whatever, it's whichever, they did it a long time ago. I don't disagree with them in terms of what they were needed for. Maybe people were reckless and didn't like to live, whether it be Muslims. So in that sense, I think movement provided for that time, for those different problems in different regions. Yeah, exactly. Where it came from, it was revealed from this person, they say it was revealed from this person. Everybody says it's revealed from somebody. Yeah? They don't know where exact, no one's seen this exact from somewhere, something, blah, blah, blah. They're all going off this assumption still. But if I come to you just as a person and said, oh, I've got a revelation that, yeah, this horse is going to win tomorrow, you know, so I'm just saying, you know, in this day and age, it's a different time. I'm not disputing this, you're not obvious. Now, if you want to quibble about whose book's right, this is just a place for it. Well, I don't think that's the purpose of it. The purpose of it is to bring people together. If you want to call it a broken language, well, there's only one broken language. Love. If we had it, together. That's what was broken. If you want to talk about it that way, if I look at it in a metaphorical way, not a literal way, Jesus walking on water, the sun walks on water. The sun what shines from the sky,
so at least now we've come to an understanding that what I said, the Quran describes God in His perfect nature and attributes, and it also points to the falsehood that's been attributed to God in other books. I gave you one example, and you seem to somehow, agree with me that it doesn't make sense. There are lots of other examples in previous scriptures. So to establish my point, that if you now examine the Quran, because you make a very good point, but you can't stop it. If you say, oh, the books describe and it claims to be, then we need to examine the books. individually. My friend.
It's like, okay, if they ask a question, it's interpreted. I mean, yeah, brilliant. It's a good way to actually